example, guys, of how warm it is, how you need to adjust out here. Now, I've got one of these point and shoot type guns. Now, the last reading had it here. If you set this for, this is in an air-conditioned room that's set for 24 degrees on the AC, and we're getting a 31.3 reading on here. 31.3. Put it toward the air conditioning thing. It's even hot. Well, if you go higher, heat rises. So you look at the difference if you point this toward the ceiling. Then you point this down below. This cold air sinks. So it's 30.9 degrees. Put it straight forward. You're getting an average in here of about 30.7, which, by the way, is still in the 80s. Now, in normal circumstances, you got to understand this. It's really hot outside, and I took a temperature outside. And why don't we go and do this? Because I want to give you an example of how this works. Those that want to live out here and visit and so forth. So let's get out of the comfort of my living room here. And I'm going to give you an example right here in the hallway of my house. Let's go on, gotta get the right setting here, make it for object. It's 32.5 in my hallway. That's in a high 80. Okay. Go in the dining room here, 33, so it's even hotter in the dining room. Now watch when I go outside. I'm just showing you guys to show you how the heat works out here. Out here, you don't want to put it towards the sun, just the shady portion here of the front of my house. Let's see what we got here. 36, that's body temp. Make sure you got on the right object. So that's body function. We want to make sure you got to keep on. Okay, so it's 35.4 degrees out here in the shade. Centigrade. Okay, so let me shut this door here. And you can see how the temperature varies from room to room. Now, you know, watch the big difference. I'm walking into this room. Of course, I got the dogs in here. Point it down, but let's get it on object. You point down low, because remember, cold air stays low. Watch as I put this up gradually. It'll go up to 31 or so. Remember, cold air, hot air rises. So if I go to the ceiling here, you're going to get as high as, let's see, make sure we got on the right setting here all the time. You switch on this body temp, you go back to this. So we're getting 35.5 toward the ceiling. Back down lower, again, because cold air stays low, getting like a reading of about 30.8. All right, so point being of all this. When, in the outside temperature, by the way, what did that come down to? I'm forgetting the figures. The outside temperature is in like the 90s. Okay, so when you go into an air-conditioned room, of course you're going to see the difference. You're going to feel the difference. But it's still not what you'd call a frigid room. Now, this air conditioner is set for, right now it's on 24 degrees. That's the goal. But in reality, it's competing with so much hot air from outside. Okay, you got concrete walls in here all around. It's all concrete, which can hold in the heat. Now, are you really going to get down to 24 degrees in here? Well, I think if the door was perfectly sealed, it may go down a little bit, but you're still not going to really get to that 24 degrees point on here. Too many factors. Now, 24, well, what do we get a reading in here? Let's do that again. My reading in this room, I just want to go over this one more time. I'm going to show you. Okay, let's go this to object. Okay, so it's 31.4 on here. So do your math what 31.4 is. I should have just wrote this all down. 31.4. That's still a high temperature. Now, going outside, you're going to feel the difference between 31.5 and like 36 or so. That's quite a jump. So yeah, you're going to be really hot on the outside. And you would think that comfort level would be like 65 degrees Fahrenheit. That would be like, that's ideal sleeping temperature. But even a 10 degree degradation of temperature is going to give you a cooling effect. Even though the cooling effect, you're still like, you know, around 80 degrees inside your house. And, you know, to a lot of people, that's pretty warm inside your house. Compared to like 65 degrees, you'd be freezing your ass off. I was talking about this on my show, I think this morning. I made mention of that. It goes to show you the difference between the outside and inside and how you get that feeling of cooling. When it's really not that cool inside your house, it's just that in comparison. That's why, like, if you're outside and the weather is, say, oh, I don't know, say 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and you find the shade of a tree, it's still going to be hot under that shade of the tree, but it's going to be cooled by maybe as much as 20 degrees. Now, that is a big difference to cool you off. Even though it's not like you're taking a cold shower, 80 degrees is still, it's pretty warm temperature. It's not 65. You're not going to get that between in the sun and in the shade. But you are going to get a lower temperature, which is going to give you a cooling effect compared to that higher temperature. Your body perceives this as being cool, when to most people they say, no, cool to me is not 80 degrees, pal. Cool to me is like, below 70. Well, in a temperate climate, you could kind of go along with these figures. But when you live in a tropical climate like this, it's going to be different. You've acclimated yourself to really hot temperatures out here, so that after you go outside, you go on an errand, hotter than shit outside, and you come back in the house and you enter an air-conditioned room and you say, oh man, this is relief. This is great. But how great is it? Well, it could be a 20-degree difference, which does make a difference. Your body is going to cool off. But remember, your body temperature is 98.6 Fahrenheit. Anything below that is going to be comfortable, more comfortable. Way below that, you're going to be chilled. Anything above 98.6 is going to be on a different threshold. It all has to do with, climatizing yourself to where you live. Not everybody can do that very well. Now, even though the air conditioner, you say, well, something wrong with your air conditioner. If you got it set for 24, and we're going to put this on again. You got this set for 24, Jack. Okay, let's go back to object. That's body. See, you're getting 31.0 here. But the air conditioner up there says 24. Well, you've set it for 24. Doesn't mean that the room is going to go down to 24, but it's dealing with a lot of things in here. How much space is in the room? It's a decent sized living room. The walls are made out of concrete that kind of radiates heat. As you can see, we got a combination of fan on in here and air conditioners just to circulate the air around. Remember, go low, go down low. Let's get on the, this thing you got to kind of switch over all the time. Body. Okay. Now you're seeing the lower temperatures. I point it down. 29.9. I point this up, it's 31.1. So there's a several degree difference between the floor level and a midway level in the living room. Cold air likes to stay low. That's how that works. All right, so you want to live in the tropics. It takes a certain amount of time to adjust to the temperatures out here, but not everybody adjusts to it. When it's hot out, it's hot out. I mean, the average temperature around here right now this time of year is definitely above 91, and I forgot how much higher than that. Now, Fazio did his show yesterday, not to mention this, and he's full of shit as usual, but he had one of his antiquated things like I have. Mine's a little more modern. It's a regular gun that's a little more reliable. And he says that he's out there working in 146 to 150 something degree heat. Well, he wouldn't be alive for very long if he was working out there on some useless project, and the temperature was that much. He'd be stroking out. Okay. Naturally, if you point your gun to a hot metal surface or something, oh yeah, it's metal takes on the heat. It's gonna reflect a much greater temperature, but it's not the air temperature. If you point it toward concrete in your property, and concrete is going to give you a higher reading. To get a proper reading, you want to take your temperature in the shade, because that's going to be the temperature of the air around you. Of course, if you go out into the sun, it's going to radiate more energy, and you're going to feel hotter, and the temperature is going to go on that gun a lot hotter, because it's also reflecting off a lot of surfaces. But there's no way in the world that even with the factor of heat and humidity combination, which could make things feel, for example, if you went out and took a reading on a day that was really hot, but it was really humid, there's another factor involved with there. Let's say 100 degrees. Let's just go with 100. Okay, so it might be 100 degrees Fahrenheit. But if you add the humidity factor to it, you'll see, like reports, when you look at weather reports, but feels like, remember, it's 100 degrees. Of course, the humidity, the combination factor in there, but it feels like maybe 115, 120. It's not the actual temperature. It's the kind of effect that it gives you. It'll feel hotter than it is because the humidity in combination with the temperature itself makes you feel that much more uncomfortable. There you go. There was no way in the world that it was bullshit that he was in 146 degree heat, because I will guarantee you, nobody, and I mean nobody, I don't think they get that in the Sahara. It gets high, but 146, 150 something degrees, I don't know if that's ever been recorded. Maybe. And for him to stand in his dumpy yard and say, I'm working out here, a real man can work in this kind of heat. Oh, God. No, a real stupid man, if it was that kind of heat, 146 degrees, would not be working in their backyard on some useless project. Nevertheless, standing out there or out of their house. No, they wouldn't be doing that. Any normal man would not be doing that, okay? Remember, body temperature 98.6. When you get over extremes of that, that is like when everything lights up red, danger zone, danger, all right, danger zone, danger, Will Smith, danger, Will Smith, you know, that does not compute. Doesn't compute at all. The human body can only stand so much. Your brain heats up, your heart rate's going to go up. Anything over 98.6, there's going to be a rise in your heart rate, okay? And if you're out there too long, it gets too hot, you'll stroke out. Now, a man with a brain would not be working in midday trying to prove people what a real man they are, okay, in heat like that. I mean, there's not 146 degrees and above where he was working outside. It don't get that hot out here, bottom line. Okay, but even if it was like 91 degrees, which, let's say anywhere between 90 and 95 degrees, that still wouldn't be healthy for any man, any soul, any animal to be out in the heat for any length of time, with the sun blaring down on you, heating up your brain, and especially being obese, overweight, and out of shape. You're going to be outside in the sun in the 90s for a prolonged period of time? I just don't think so, folks. Anyway, thanks for listening.